Now, International Relations Minister Dr. Naledi Pandor has reacted to the Section 89 report into the Phala Phala farm theft scandal. She says she's confident Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa will still be president in 2023. Some political parties have called for the president to step aside. Pandor delivered the department's end-of-year media briefing this morning, and the present there was senior reporter Slindelo Masikane, and she's back now here with us here in the studio. Slindelo, good afternoon, welcome back, and it's good to have you in the studio. So what came out of this briefing with Dr. Pandor?
Well, essentially highlights in terms of some of the programs that were done this year, some of the foreign policies that were achieved, of course, bilateral relations, and just expressing some of the sentiments from the department in terms of the work that they have done, and of course also flagging what they will be participating in next year. We know that South Africa is going to be chairing BRICS as of 2023, taking over from the People's Republic of China, and so she was saying that it's going to be quite a significant process in terms of South Africa chairing BRICS in its formation, because there are talks of possibly adding additional states. Also, of course, reiterating South Africa's stance when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, saying that dialogue really is what needs to take place to end that conflict there. But of course, she also addressed the concerns around what we know to be the possibility of South Africa being graylisted, and that is because of the concerns around criminals just not being brought to book when it comes to the illicit flow of money in the country. Let's take a listen.
On the graylisting of South Africa, we await the FATF meeting in February. We have done all that we believe is necessary to address the inadequacies that they had indicated. And I do think that South Africa has really paid close attention to strengthening the inadequacies with respect to money laundering and so on. And I think this issue, which has come up of being a country in which sponsorship of terrorism money easily exits the country, is something that we are looking at extremely closely as South Africa. And I think just compared to many countries that have been grey-listed, South Africa's financial regulatory system and practices are far superior. So I would be very, very surprised if we are grey-listed, and I think the actions that the Cabinet and the Minister of Finance have taken should hopefully put the matter to rest. And if not, we will then have a very clear sense of exactly what it is that remains unaddressed, and we'll make sure we address it. But I have great faith in the financial systems and practices of South Africa.
So the country's got until February to prove that it can manage this financial setup very well, because there's also global fears around funding for terrorism as an example. Yeah. Okay, so we want to know the minister's thought. I mean, she's a veteran of the ANC.
Of course.
She's a senior. She's going to be at Nasrec.
And she's going to be in Parliament tomorrow, right?
She's going to be in Parliament tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow in the Phala Phala report debate. Her comments around this whole issue, particularly what it's doing to South Africa's international diplomatic standing.
So it's one of the questions I actually posed to her, because I thought it's quite interesting. We've heard from various quarters in society, but not really anything around the effects of this Section 89 report on our bilateral relations. And she said, look, at this point, we don't foresee us having a new president in 2023, because I actually pointedly asked her, do you think he should resign while he's taking this report on review? And she said, what, as it stands, she believes that the processes just need to be allowed to unfold. And when I asked her, do you think he should resign, all she said was, I'm going to be in Parliament and I'm going to vote. Let's take a listen.
We won't have a different president in 2023. I think it will remain President Ramaphosa, unless something unexpected occurs. But in my own, limited analysis, I believe that he will remain president in 2023. On my reaction to the report, I think it's really a matter that President Ramaphosa has to deal with, since he is the person that is the subject of the report, and he's acted in terms of the law and the Constitution by following the steps of taking the report on review.
Very diplomatic answer, Slindelo, she gave. Okay, understandably so. But are there any concerns internationally about this report?
Well, you know what she says to me, she's fielded a number of calls, in fact, from her foreign counterparts, but it's mostly questions around clarity, around what is unfolding. But she says she's been reassuring her foreign counterparts that the democracy of South Africa remains stable, that we're not in a crisis, and that really, at this point, the law should be allowed to take its course. But also she's saying that her foreign counterparts are reaffirming South Africa's sovereignty to deal with this as a country. Let's take a listen.
One or two colleagues have called, but they don't want the minutiae of the issue. They're more interested in, is South Africa stable? Is there a problem? Should we anticipate that there'll be some kind of conflict emerging which will harm the stability? And I've assured them, even when the temperature appears very high in South Africa, we remain a stable democracy, and that we have the rule of law which needs to be exercised to its logical conclusion. And so they must allow the processes to continue and not be alarmed, and start calling on their private sector to withdraw investment or beware. I don't think it's that kind of situation. But one or two have called, but generally, I must say a number, when they call, say we are asking, it's not because we want to interfere. We respect the sovereign right of South Africa.
That's South Africa's head of diplomacy. The Minister for International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor.